My name is Joel Lindstrom from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm a 10-time MVP and I'm a consulting principal for Hitachi Solutions.
Excellent. So how did you get involved in business apps?
I get in business apps. I had this great plan, which was I want to get a job. And so 11, almost 12 years ago, I moved from a sales role, and I went into what I thought was going to be an interview to be a salesperson for a CRM partner. And they said, you need to be in professional services, which was new to me. I never touched a server in my life. I dabbled in hobbyist computer stuff and built my own computers, but I always had a desire to go there, but didn't really have an educational background in it. But I got in it, met a lot of the great people who did it, found out I was pretty good at it, and the rest is history.
Excellent. So if you weren't doing this, what would be another profession you'd be interested in?
If I wasn't doing this, a couple things. I enjoy, besides the CRM part of my job, I enjoy mentoring my team members and helping them be successful. And I've been able to help several people on my team become MVPs, and that's been really rewarding. So the one thing I've learned throughout my career is it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about how we can grow together. And by doing things together, we can, it's like Cubby talks about how the total is more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, excellent.
And so I would be in some role where I was mentoring other people, maybe still in a sales role. And I still enjoy going on sales calls and things like that. And that's one thing that attracts me to CRM as opposed to operations and AX.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit boring and working back office stuff, but working with people and helping people be more effective in customer service and sales is really exciting to me.
Excellent. So the future of Dynamics 365, what excites you?
What excites me is how much it expands. I mean, even 4 or 5 years ago, we were still just talking about Salesforce automation. Now, you look at the agenda for MVP Summit or other things like that, it's so much more field service, project service, connected field service, IoT, all this stuff, but there's still that core of people need to sell more stuff and better engage with their clients. And the idea of customer engagement to me is more exciting than the idea of CRM. CRM is, we'll have this system where we record all these activities and get all this data. Customer engagement is, how can we strategically be better at engaging with our clients and making them more successful?
Yeah, so good. If you go anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be?
I think I would go visit you and George in Australia and New Zealand.
Excellent.
And see
Good
that
choice.
part, just because it's so much different than where I live. I live in South Carolina, so I mean we have some interesting wildlife, but very few things that will kill you. I mean, you take your life in your hands and every day, and things that could kill you just going to the restroom. So I mean, I think that's exciting.
What's the one thing people need to know about Dynamics 365?
One thing they need to know about Dynamics 365, like I mentioned before, it's a lot more than CRM, and it's more than, customer service. It's all those things. And what you need to know is that there's a great community of MVPs and other people who can help you be more successful. I mean, Microsoft just released a great free course last week that can help you lay the foundation. There's a lot of people out there that can help you, and just get involved, learn more about it, and you can be successful with it.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask my kids, I'm probably a 10. If you ask my wife, I'm probably a 6.5 to 7. I think I'm probably an average of that, probably about a 7.
So what's a common myth about a Dynamics 365 implementation?
The common myth is that you know what you need before you start. A lot of people have an idea of what their business needs are, and you get requirements or user stories. But the reality is, especially if you haven't used a customer engagement or CRM system, you don't really know what you need, or you fully understand all the ramifications of it. And if you talk to somebody who implemented it a year or two ago, you'll find out that they've learned a lot. And so that's why I recommend you don't take the big leap and try and boil the ocean in an implementation for 2 years. You take smaller pieces, do a pilot, roll out a couple locations, get some successes, some small successes, and build on top of that, because you'll wind up much more successful than taking the long project before you roll anything out.
Yeah, good. So what are you not good at?
What am I not good at? I think I mentioned before, I knew going through accounting classes and things like that that I would not be a good fit for implementing financials, just because I don't have the patience to go through everything in the general ledger. I want to jump to the end, and then from my perspective, people that do accounting and financial systems need to have an eye for detail and be able to work through small steps. And for that reason, I'm not a great developer either. I'm not a developer, and I've done coding and that type of thing. I wrote BASIC on my Commodore 128 in 1986, and same thing. I wanted to jump ahead in the process. I wasn't great at taking everything in each incremental step.
Yeah.
So I admire the people who can do that, but from my perspective, that's not really what I do best.
Yeah, good. So what's the greatest thing about being an MVP?
The greatest thing about MVP, what I see people who are successful at it, are the people who like to give back to the community, the people helping others, the people who are in it to get free stuff, or be able to think they're going to change the world with Microsoft, and they're going to call up Jim Phillips and say, hey, here's what we need, and he's going to change the product. They get disillusioned, and we're here for Microsoft's pleasure, and we're here because we're active in the community. And you have to really like to do that. If you just want to be an MVP for the title, then it's going to become another job to you. But if you really enjoy getting involved with user group and speaking and helping other people and writing blogs, doing podcasts, answering forum questions, you'll be very successful as an MVP.